There is no virtue in weak people. Virtue is in strong people. That is what Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna here. It means that you must be positive. You have everything within yourself. Have that faith in yourself. Have that faith in God, that you are divinity, and that will help you. Krishna was the very embodiment of strength, of fearlessness. In our scripture, there is nothing there. When you go, and I'm talking about Shrutis, I'm talking about Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Vedas. There is nothing in there that tells us that we must be weak. We have the word that's called Abhi. Abhi means strong. And that is what we have. We have to be fearless. So, for us, what is fearlessness? Fearlessness is God. God is fearlessness. And never will you find such stress as in the Upanishads. Abhi means, as I said, fearlessness. Abhayam is the word there. Abhayam. So, what is the name of God? The name of God is fearless. So, when we attain God, we become fearless. That is the point that Krishna is making to Arjuna here. Now, a human being can become fearless. How? By realizing his divine nature. That is how he can become fearless. Every page of the Upanishads tell us that. Every page tells us that we must be strong and we must be fearless. So we can remove this weakness. But let me ask you this question. Can you remove weakness with weakness? Never. You cannot remove weakness with weakness. You have to remove weakness with strength. The human heart asks this question. Are there no human weakness? Yes, we say that there you have human weakness. But let me ask you this question. Can dirt wash dirt? Pure water can wash dirt. That is what we are. We are free. We are pure. That is what Krishna is telling Arjuna here. So the more spiritual you become, the more fearless and strong you become, and the more compassionate you become. That is the point that he's making here. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, and throughout the Bhagavad Gita, he tells him, look, my devotee is the one who is strong and fearless, and yet that devotee of mine is compassionate. That is what he tells him throughout the Bhagavad Gita. He says to Arjuna, that devotee of mine doesn't fear anybody, and nobody can fear him also, because he is so gentle. If you're gentle, that doesn't mean you're weak. You see? So Krishna is really giving Arjuna a good lesson here. And through Arjuna, remember, Arjuna was a brilliant student. And he's speaking for all of us. And he posed some really keen, sharp questions to Krishna here, the teacher. And he's posing those questions for all of us. So this initial tonic of Arjuna composed his mind somewhat. When he spoke to Arjuna, he strengthened him. He somewhat made him a little more coherent. And from here onwards, he will still pose his questions to Krishna, but he's not crying anymore. He's calm, he's steady, and so he's more composed. That depression is not there anymore. My friends, if we understand that part of the Gita, we understand life and how we should be able to live it. But Krishna did not come here to tell Arjuna about his duty. He wanted to tell him more than that. And he did. And I can't do that everything tonight. But I want to take you to two other verses where he tried to lift him up. That is what he's doing with him, because he got his attention. And he's posing good questions. And the teacher is answering those questions. And these two verses give us a great message here that comes to all people, not only to Arjuna, but to all of us, and especially to children. And I especially like these two verses. And when you go home, look at them. It's chapter 6, verses 5 and 6. And because there is a great message here that comes in a very simple way. Of course, the Bhagavad Gita is philosophical, but I believe that you'll be able to understand these two verses when you really try to analyze them. And in chapter 6, verse 5, he tells us here, this is a wonderful statement by the Lord here to Arjuna and to all of us. We always have a tendency sometimes to blame other people. Always. And today, especially in this modern civilization, we have that. This is a constant attitude of the mind. And so, we always hear people say, and especially children sometimes, why am I like this? Because my mother is bad. My father is bad. Society is bad. God is bad. You know, everything but not that individual. So we blame people. I am myself not responsible for anything the person would say. Now, as regards civilization, here, not only children, but grown-ups also behave like this. Complaining, rather than go the normal route and get something resolved. So what Krishna is saying here, that raise yourself by yourself. Raise yourself by yourself. Udaret atma natmanam. Natmanam avasadayit. Don't let yourself down. Atma ivahyatma no bandhur. You alone are your own friend. Bandhur atma iva ripuratmana. You alone are your own enemy. Let's focus on that. On those two lines here. Because we raise ourselves by ourselves. Suppose you receive some bad treatment by someone in the past. Are you going to carry that to your grave? No. You don't want to do that. But you know of people who have done that. I know that. So Krishna is saying that you cannot let that misfortune hold you back. Try to get it out. You know, try to experience it. Do whatever you want. But don't carry it throughout your life. And here, he's saying that you have to overcome it. And once you overcome it, then you start gaining strength. Think about a student. Listen to a student, especially if the student doesn't study. Why did you fail the exam? Oh, because my teacher did not teach. Or maybe the exam paper was a little difficult. And it goes on. And the student goes on. But you know what? You never hear the other side. I did not study for the exam. Sure, we have teachers that are, not that good. But not all teachers. But we always blame the teachers. And so, we have to point to ourselves also and stop complaining. We must take the blame for whatever we are also doing. And so, we need to correct it and say, I will correct it. There's nothing wrong with that. Or if you make a mistake, say it. So, Krishna says, Na atmanam avasadeye. Don't pull yourself down. Why? Atma eva hi atma no bandhu. Oneself is one's own friend. And then he says, Atma eva ripu atmana. Oneself is also one's own enemy. So, This is a wonderful expression. In fact, if we were to just follow just this particular verse here, it can lift us up in life. Verily true, I am my own friend, I am my own enemy. So, if somebody troubles me, if I don't lodge it into my mind, it will not be there. But if I lodge it in my mind, then I will have to carry it, and carry it, and carry it for a long time. So we need to keep it away. We need to move it away from our minds. So that is the first thing there in that particular verse. You know, you may have a number of microbes around you which can cause disease in you. But if you're strong in physique, no disease will come to you. No microbe can do any harm to you. So what we need to do is to strengthen ourselves. And that is what Krishna is teaching us here. You know, when India was striving for its political freedom, the first set of leaders, you know what they said? Please give me freedom as a gift. You know what the other leaders said? Like Lokmanya, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and the Indian Congress? They said, Swaraj, freedom. Freedom is my birthright. I shall have it. See the difference? It was that was followed later that ultimately freed India. And then came Mahatma Gandhi. Make yourself big. In a big way, he was saying. That is why it finally ended when Mahatma Gandhi said, quit India in 1942. And within 5 years, India gained its independence. So my friends, we have the strength. We have the power within us to change things. But then you would say, in personal life, this is the story that we have. But then, we begin to question. And what is the question? We begin to question the same idea here. I can be my own friend, but how can I be my own enemy? And my enemy must be somebody else. Well, listen to what Krishna says here. My friends, these are profound philosophical insights here embedded to me in these verses. What Krishna is saying here, when you discipline the sense system, think about it. When you discipline the sense system, that's the mental system, you develop great character strength. Then you become your own friend. And then he says, but the other way, anat manastu shatrudve. When you leave the mind to the sense energies, to themselves, and you don't discipline them, you don't train them, then you become your own enemy. You see? This is the teaching. This is the teaching. How much it means to all of us in the development of character here. So always complaining against others is not a good thing. The complaining attitude is a very poor attitude in a human being. And many people continue to complain, and this has been going on since I was a kid. And it will continue unless we understand the teaching of Krishna. So complaining will not help us. Building up resentment will not help us. That will be our number one enemy.